They thought it was over. They thought the story had ended. They thought they could betray you, doubt you, laugh at you, and walk away like nothing happened. But here's the mistake they made. They underestimated the person standing in front of them. Tell me something. What happens when you push someone to their absolute limit? What happens when every lie, every betrayal, every ounce of disrespect turns into fuel? Most people break, but a few, a very dangerous few, transform, and that's where the game changes. See, they celebrated too early. They mistook your silence for weakness. They mistook your patience for fear. They looked at your setbacks and thought they were witnessing your downfall. What they didn't realize was that while they were busy celebrating, you were evolving. While they were laughing, you were learning. While they were sleeping, you were building something they could never understand. Because the strongest people aren't created through comfort. They are created through pain. And today, the people who thought they got away with it are about to witness the one thing they never prepared for. Your comeback. Not a comeback fueled by anger. Not a comeback fueled by revenge. A comeback fueled by purpose, discipline, and an unbreakable mindset. So, if you've ever been betrayed, underestimated, ignored, or counted out, this message is for you. Because sometimes the biggest mistake your enemies can make is believing they have already won. They looked at your silence and made a decision about who you were. They watched you walk away from arguments, and they called you weak. They saw you refuse to fight every battle, and they assumed you were afraid. They noticed that you didn't respond to every insult, every criticism, every act of disrespect, and they convinced themselves that you had accepted defeat. In their minds, the story was already written. They believed they understood your limits. They believed they had figured you out. But what they failed to understand is that silence is not always surrender. Sometimes silence is strategy. Sometimes silence is discipline. Sometimes silence is the decision to focus your energy on something greater than proving a point to people who have already made up their minds. The world is full of people who mistake noise for strength. They think the loudest person in the room is the strongest. They think the person who reacts instantly is the most powerful. They think confidence is measured by how much attention someone demands. But true strength often moves differently. True strength doesn't need constant validation. It doesn't need applause every step of the way. Real power is being able to control yourself when every emotion inside you is demanding a reaction. Anyone can explode with anger. Anyone can lose control. Anyone can shout. Very few people can stay calm while being tested. Very few people can remain focused while others are trying to distract them. A few people can continue moving forward when nobody believes in them. That kind of strength is rare. When people underestimate you, it creates a dangerous advantage. They stop paying attention. They stop preparing. They stop expecting growth from you. They become comfortable with the version of you they created inside their minds. They expect you to stay exactly where you are. They expect you to remain the same person they knew yesterday. But while they are making assumptions, you're making progress. While they are talking, you're working. While they are judging, you're improving. Every day you spend learning, growing, and developing yourself creates distance between who you were and who you're becoming. The people who underestimate you rarely notice these changes because they are too focused on their own opinions. They only see the surface. They don't see the early mornings. They don't see the sacrifices. They don't see the moments when you wanted to quit, but kept going anyway. They don't see the discipline required to keep showing up when results aren't visible yet. Success is often invisible in the beginning. Growth happens quietly. Improvement happens privately. Transformation happens in moments that nobody celebrates. There are battles that never appear on social media. There are victories that never receive applause. There are sacrifices that nobody notices. The strongest foundations are built underground before anyone sees the building rise above the surface. Patience is one of the most misunderstood qualities in the world. Many people believe patience means waiting. They think patience means doing nothing. They think patience is passive, but true patience is active. True patience means continuing to work while the rewards are delayed. It means staying committed while the results are hidden. It means trusting your process when nobody else understands your vision. Patience is not weakness. Patience is controlled strength. The ability to remain focused, despite uncertainty, is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Most people quit because they need immediate proof that their efforts are working. They want instant results. They want immediate recognition. They want quick rewards. But meaningful growth rarely works that way. The strongest minds are built through repetition. The strongest habits are built through consistency. The strongest character is built through challenges. Every obstacle you face is giving you something. Every setback is teaching you something. Every disappointment is preparing you for something greater. Even when it feels unfair, even when progress feels slow, every difficult moment contains a lesson that can make you stronger if you're willing to learn from it. People often focus on what they have lost instead of what they have gained through struggle. They focus on the rejection instead of the resilience. They focus on the failure instead of the experience. They focus on the criticism instead of the growth. But every challenge leaves something valuable behind. Every difficult season develops qualities that comfort never could. Adversity creates strength. Resistance creates endurance. Adversity creates perspective. The people who doubted you may never understand this because they have never experienced the mindset required to keep going when success isn't guaranteed. They don't understand what it means to continue believing in yourself when evidence is limited. They don't understand the courage required to keep moving forward when the path is uncertain. That's why they mistake silence for defeat. They don't recognize the difference between someone who has given up and someone who is preparing. They don't recognize the difference between weakness and restraint. They don't recognize the difference between surrender and strategy. Because while they are busy watching for reactions, you're building results. While they are expecting excuses, you're creating solutions. While they are predicting your failure, you're developing the skills, habits, discipline, and mindset necessary to become someone they never expected you to be. Pain has a way of changing people. It enters your life without permission, breaks what you thought was secure, and forces you to face realities you never wanted to accept. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain. They run from it, hide from it, and do everything possible to escape it. But there comes a moment when you realize that some of the greatest transformations in life are born from the very struggles you wished had never happened. The truth is, pain can either destroy you or develop you. The choice is yours. Every betrayal leaves a mark. Every rejection creates a scar. Every failure tests your confidence. There are moments when life hits so hard that you begin to question yourself. You begin to wonder whether you're strong enough to continue. You begin to wonder whether all the effort is worth it. Those moments are dangerous because they force you to make a decision about who you're going to become. Some people allow pain to make them bitter. Others allow pain to make them better. The difference isn't found in the difficulty of their circumstances. The difference is found in their response. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers because it exposes weaknesses that comfort hides. When everything is easy, you don't discover what you're truly capable of. When life is comfortable, your limits remain unknown. It's only when you're pushed beyond what feels possible that your real strength begins to emerge. Think about every challenge you've survived. At the time, it felt impossible. At the time, it felt overwhelming. At the time, it felt like the end of the road. Yet somehow, you're still here. You kept moving. You kept fighting. You kept finding reasons to continue. That wasn't luck. That was strength. Many people underestimate the power hidden inside difficult experiences. They focus only on the suffering and miss the lessons. They focus only on the loss and ignore the growth. They focus only on what went wrong and fail to recognize they gained. Every setback carries a lesson. Every disappointment carries wisdom. Every struggle contains an opportunity to become stronger. The people who rise above adversity aren't people who never experience pain. They are people who learn how to use pain as fuel. Instead of allowing hardship to stop them, they allow hardship to sharpen them. Instead of becoming victims of their circumstances, they become students of their experiences. When someone betrays you, it hurts. When someone lies to you, it hurts. When someone walks away from you, it hurts. But those moments also reveal something important. They teach you who people really are. They teach you where your boundaries need to be. Teach you the value of self-respect. They teach you that not everyone deserves access to your energy, your trust, or your future. Pain removes illusions. Pain reveals truth, and truth is powerful. Failure works the same way. Nobody enjoys failing. Nobody enjoys falling short of expectations. Nobody enjoys watching plans collapse after investing time, effort, and hope. But failure provides information that success often cannot. Failure shows you weaknesses in your strategy. Failure exposes gaps in your preparation. A failure teaches lessons that can become valuable assets if you're willing to learn. The strongest people in the world are not those who avoid failure. They are those who refuse to be defined by it. Every successful person has experienced moments when things didn't go according to plan. Every accomplished individual has faced rejection, criticism, and disappointment. The difference is that they refuse to let temporary setbacks become permanent limitations. Mental toughness is not built during easy seasons. Mental toughness is built when everything feels difficult. It's built when motivation disappears, but discipline remains. It's built when fear is present, but action continues. It's built when excuses are available, but commitment stays stronger. Pain forces you to discover parts of yourself that comfort never requires. It forces you to become resourceful. It forces you to become resilient. It forces you to develop patience, endurance, and emotional control. These qualities cannot be purchased. They cannot be borrowed. They must be earned through experience. There is something powerful about a person who has been through difficult times and refused to quit. There is something powerful about someone who has faced rejection and continued believing in themselves. There is something powerful about someone who has suffered setbacks but remained committed to their goals. That kind of strength cannot be faked. That kind of confidence cannot be given. That kind of character must be built. Every challenge you overcome adds another layer to your foundation. Every obstacle you survive increases your capacity to handle future difficulties. Every moment of perseverance becomes proof that you're capable of more than you once believed. The people who laugh at your struggles rarely understand what those struggles are creating. They see the pain, but not the growth. They see the battle, but not the strength being developed. They see the setbacks, but not the resilience being built. What they call suffering may actually be preparation. What they call failure may actually be training. What they call weakness may actually be the beginning of transformation. Because the most dangerous person in the room is not the one who has never suffered. The most dangerous person is the one who has suffered, learned, adapted, grown stronger, and turned every painful experience into fuel for a greater purpose. That person no longer fears rejection. That person no longer fears setbacks. That person no longer fears obstacles, because they understand that every challenge carries the potential to make them stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more focused, more resilient, and more prepared for everything that lies ahead. There comes a moment in every person's life when the world thinks your story is finished. They look at your failures, your setbacks, your struggles, and they decide that they have seen everything you're capable of becoming. They place limits on your potential based on your current circumstances. They judge your future by your present situation. They convince themselves that they already know how your story ends. That's when they make their biggest mistake, because some people break under pressure. Others are built by it. The people who doubted you were paying attention to the wrong things. They focused on your losses instead of your lessons. They focused on your mistakes instead of your growth. They focused on where you were instead of where you were going. They saw temporary setbacks and assumed they were permanent failures. What they didn't understand was that transformation often happens in silence. The most important changes don't happen in front of an audience. They happen behind closed doors. They happen during lonely nights. They happen during difficult mornings when nobody is watching. Every day you choose discipline over excuses, you're changing. Every day you choose growth over comfort, you're changing. Every day you continue moving forward despite fear, doubt, and uncertainty. You're becoming someone stronger than you were before. The comeback doesn't begin when the world notices. The comeback begins when you decide to stop surrendering to your circumstances. Many people spend their lives waiting for perfect conditions. They wait for confidence before taking action. They wait for support before chasing their goals. They wait for certainty before making a move. But the people who achieve extraordinary things understand something important. Confidence is not the starting point. Action is. You don't become confident and then take action. You take action and become confident. Every small victory creates momentum. Every challenge overcome create. Eighth belief, every obstacle conquered becomes proof that you're capable of more than you once imagined. That's why real comebacks are never accidents. They are built through daily decisions. They are built through consistency. They are built through discipline. A world loves dramatic success stories, but few people appreciate the work that creates them. They celebrate the victory without understanding the sacrifice. They admire the achievement without seeing the struggle. They notice the result without recognizing the years of preparation behind it. What looks like an overnight success is often the product of countless unseen efforts. Hours of practice, months of sacrifice, years of persistence, moments of doubt overcome through determination, days when quitting felt easier but wasn't chosen. The people who underestimated you never saw those moments. They weren't there when you kept going despite exhaustion. They weren't there when you continued working despite disappointment. They weren't there when you faced failure and chose to try again. They only see the final result. They don't see the process. That's why they never understand the true power of a comeback. A comeback is not revenge. A comeback is not about proving people wrong. A comeback is about proving yourself right. It's about becoming the person you promised yourself you would become. It's about fulfilling your potential despite every obstacle placed in your path. Revenge focuses on others. Growth focuses on you. A revenge is temporary. Growth is lasting. When your motivation depends on proving people wrong, your power remains connected to their opinions. But when your motivation comes from your purpose, your vision, and your desire to become better, your power becomes limitless. The strongest people don't spend their lives looking backward. They focus on what's ahead. They focus on building. They focus on creating. They focus on becoming. Every challenge you've faced has prepared you for this moment. Every disappointment has taught you something valuable. Every setback has strengthened muscles that success alone could never build. The obstacles that once seemed unfair have become part of your training. You are not the same person you were when those struggles began. You've learned, you've adapted, you've grown. The pain changed you. The failures changed you. The hardships changed you. But they didn't weaken you. They strengthened you. The people who once doubted you often expect you to remain the version of yourself they remember. They expect you to stay trapped in old mistakes. They expect you to remain limited by old fears. They expect you to continue living beneath your potential. What surprises them is seeing someone they can no longer recognize. Someone more disciplined. Someone more focused. Someone more resilient. Someone more determined. The comeback becomes powerful because it represents more than success. It represents transformation. It represents growth earned through struggle. It represents strength developed through adversity. It represents a refusal to allow difficult circumstances to define your future. Every day presents a choice. You can remain trapped by what happened yesterday, or you can continue building tomorrow. You can focus on what was lost, or you can focus on what can still be created. You can allow doubt to control your decisions, or you can move forward despite uncertainty. A future belongs to those who continue moving when others stop. It belongs to those who maintain discipline when motivation fades. It belongs to those who stay committed when progress appears slow. It belongs to those who understand that greatness is built through consistent effort repeated over time. Because eventually the work becomes visible. Eventually the growth becomes undeniable. Eventually the results speak louder than the criticism. Eventually, the discipline produces rewards. Eventually, the person they underestimated becomes the person they never expected to see standing in front of them.